Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thanks again for joining this another session. I'm glad you're here and I see some questions. Look forward to answering those questions. Continue to post your questions. And again, this program is sponsored by Laurel Ridge Treatment Center. And I am going to share with you the commercial, the sponsorship commercial that Zach is going to tell us about the services.
Stream is sponsored by Laurel Ridge Treatment Center. Laurel Ridge Behavioral Health Program offers compassionate care for every stage of life. It provides personalized treatment for all populations. Their interest is to help you into your journey to wellness. There are services for children, adolescents, adults, military dependents, active duty service members, veterans, and first responders. They offer inpatient services, outpatient services, substance abuse treatment, and residential treatment. Call 210-491-3591 for no-cost assessment. Laurel Ridge is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their mission is to save lives, heal families, and create hope.
All right.
This year.
Okay, let me see. Where are we? Hold on 1 minute. Okay. All right. Welcome to our session on self-limiting thoughts that hinders our growth. I see some questions. Okay, let's see. I see Christine Trevino. Thanks for your question. How do you help someone whose self-limiting belief stems from a fear of failure? That's an awesome question. If we look back into your own history, fears may have been messages that was pounded into our heads, and we were constantly reminded to stop doing this, to don't do that, to not step out of the box when we have been told to limit ourselves and to stop doing things. Are you sure you want to do this? Are you really sure you want to try this because no one has done it before in our family? When these messages are reminded, when we are reminded of these messages, then we tend to have self-doubt. We tend to go, okay, do I really want to step out of the box? So these are the things that limit us. So how do we overcome that? We have to think about, do you want fear to help you in decision makings, or would you like a different emotion, a different energy? So you can think about, the opposite of fear is what? One of the common things I think about is the opposite of fear is courage. So how do I make decisions based on courage, based on, being authentic, and based on being true to myself? So use those to guide your decision making. When you find yourself being boxed in your parenting, in your relationship, in your career choice, in your career moves, think, is fear directing you in your decision making? Or are you, again, leaning into courage? Are you stepping out of the box to help you connect to decisions that are true to you, not true to what you have to be? Again, we make decisions because we fear displeasing our parents, our partners, our children. We limit ourselves. So continue to think about ways that you can step out of your box and promote your own growth, strengthen your own growth. So those are the things that you want to think about. Okay, let's have another question. Lindsay says, how do you help someone who is narrow-minded and unwavering on opportunities or change mainly because it's different, also because they feel that change affects their initial investment. Okay, there are multiple parts of that question, so I'm trying to break it apart to see how I can answer it. So how do you change somebody with narrow mind, unwavering in their opportunity to change? So again, when somebody is narrow-minded, they're stuck in their rigid mindset. I want to lean in to understand whom are they most like in that narrow mindset. Their narrow mindset has served them in their past, in their childhood, but yet they are still using that for a reason. Sometimes people forget to change. They don't know how to change because they fear that change may bring about the unknown. So they are fearful that this change may lead to heavier consequences. So I would lean in to understand their decisions, their staying in the box. I would lean in to see what helps them trust, because they have a hard time trusting the unknown. They have a hard time trusting what might not be what might be out there. They might think that, okay, I don't have the skills, I don't have the resources, I don't have the talent. So their negative self-talk is thinking more about their own limitations. When they list their own limitations, they cannot see possibilities. So examine, what they frequently say. If they start statements with, I'm not sure if I can do this, there might be too many challenges. If I step out and put the investment in there, this and this and this might happen. So if you listen to their conversation, you will see that a lot of it is about the fear, the negative, the not staying outside of the box. So have conversations to understand. Don't have conversations to change people, because then you will feel frustrated. Then you will be pounding your head against the wall because you go, okay, why can't they hear me? Well, partly because people don't change because they want people to understand them. And so when they talk about it and then you pose some questions, it's like, who are you most like? What is safe about this staying in the box? What is helpful for you when you stay in the box? So when you ask probing questions, they may think about it after the conversation. Most people process information after the conversation. They have time to unravel, they have time to ponder. So don't expect immediate change, but you can see that, during the week, they may ponder on what you have said. So your goal is to ask questions to understand. Okay, so let me see. The part 2 is because change affects their initial investment, the initial investedness. So again, people are very invested and they're very entrenched in their sameness. That's why sometimes people in domestic violence situation, they find it hard to step away because they fear the unknown. They don't know what's about to happen. So it's easier to remain the same. Okay, Janine goes, how do you overcome perfectionism, especially its negative aspects when it's linked to your sense of self-worth? Great question. Yes, perfectionism is about wanting to do it right rather than wanting to do it to understand it, to do it to enjoy the activity. So look at the roots of perfectionism. When were you taught that you have to do things perfectly? And who modeled that for you? Because in perfectionism, we are trying to match something. We're trying to, show something that is tied to our worth. So if you take out perfectionism, what would you put in? What would be another word? You know, how about being human? Instead of being perfect, be human. You know, instead of being perfect, allow yourself room to grow. Instead of being perfect, allow yourself room to meander. Instead of being perfect and walk the straight and narrow, allow yourself room to be curious, to lean into, enjoy the journey. So don't just get hung up on the word perfectionism. Think about how you can meander, and when you make mistakes, it's often about growth. It's not about failure. So associate new meanings with failure. It is an opportunity to learn, it's an opportunity to grow, and it's an opportunity to invest in yourself. Okay, let's see. Okay, Amanda. All right, welcome, Shannon. Okay, Zach goes, what are some specific examples of self-limiting beliefs? Okay, it it runs the gamut. Children have some limiting beliefs like, I'm so dumb. I'm not smart like my friend. I am I'm so slow. I'm too this, or I'm not enough of that. So these self-limited beliefs it has roots in childhood. And in adolescent years, it grows and it becomes different, evolve to something else. I can't match up with my friends. They are bright, they are talented, they are able to find friends easily, whereas I am struggling to be such and such. And then when we go into the work world, we see other people excel and then we don't. When you keep comparing yourself to others, that sets you up to look at your limitations. So, one of the things you want to think about is take comparison out of your life. It's one of the toxic energies. As long as you compare, there will always be someone better than you, and there will also be someone who is not doing so well as you. So, think about taking comparison out of your self-talk, out of uh, your interaction. So think about how you can grow those things that you complain about. Look at the roots of the stem of it. You're still hanging on to it because it's a very emotional response. Because somebody said you were not smart, then you believe it. Are you really not smart, or are you hanging on to old beliefs? That does not serve you well. So it's important to challenge beliefs. Just because somebody said it does not make it true. Just because somebody reminded you of that, it could be their issue. It's not that it is true. It is, the gospel. So learn to challenge thoughts that people put in your mind because they could be struggling with their own insecurity. And it is important for you to challenge what people say. Not everything that is said has pure intent. Things said could have intent that is, out to hurt you. So watch out for your best interest. Learn to challenge things, learn to have new thoughts, to build new thoughts that is about building you up and not about comparing you with some other person that's in your life. There'll always be somebody who is better in something, but take out comparison and look at how you can grow those skills that you enjoy. Grow it because you enjoy it, not because you are trying to meet a standard, a bar that somebody set for you. Okay, Shannon says, if somebody you cared about is struggling with self-limiting beliefs, how could you support them in recognizing and challenging these beliefs? That's an awesome question. Yes. People like to be heard, people like to be seen, people like to be understood. So take out the need to advise them, to need to tell them to stop it, because they probably have told themselves to stop it and they're struggling with it. So it's important to listen, to understand, to listen, to hear about their struggles. When people feel seen, people feel heard, then they feel like, okay, somebody validated my point, you know. And then when people talk out loud, it helps them unravel. It's like the yarn that's all knotted up. So when they get to talk, they hear themselves repeat those illogical, faulty thinking. And it helps them think, okay, that's, I've been struggling with this for 15 years. I've been struggling with this for 20 years, and I'm still struggling with it as an adult. That doesn't sound right. So gift people the gift of being understood. Give them the gift of listening. Listen to hear and understand. So many times we think, oh, we need to have an answer. The answer is in listening with intention to understand them, and always lean in with curiosity. There's not a need to fix people, but it's important to give them gifts of being heard. Okay, Shannon goes, what are some affirmations or positive self-talk that could counteract self-limiting beliefs? To counteract it, I would encourage you to challenge these self-talk. Look at the roots of it. When did it start growing? When did this self-talk show up in your life? And many times adults, even in their 40 years old, 30 years old, a lot of their self-talk stems from childhood. So it's important to look at the root of this self-talk and how have you hung on to it unnecessarily? How have you blindly believed people? So many times what our parents say could be an emotional thought. It could be emotional response to us. So even though our parents may have good intention, it's important to challenge it. Because if you keep hanging on to what other people say, it's like driving on the highway, with your head looking backward. In your own journey in life, it's important to look forward. So the affirmation is something that you need to build on by yourself. Don't just blindly believe. Look, affirm yourself in ways that is going to strengthen your structure. So don't just look for simple behavioral changes. The changes that are long lasting are changes that challenges your thinking, your thought pattern. So think about how you can tweak messages that no longer serve you. Some of the things that you want to think about is learn how to challenge people. Just because it's said, it is not always true. So while it's not an affirmation, it's a tool to give things back to others, things that don't belong to you. So affirm yourself by standing up for yourself. Affirm yourself by advocating for yourself. Okay. Jenny has this question. How do you combat a growing sense of inadequacy, especially when your spouse repeatedly expresses disapproval or frustration towards you? Okay, that's a great question. So your sense of inadequacy. So while people may say things to you think it is your job to stand up and defend yourself. Many times, when you allow people to continually say things, continually berate you, think about how you can stand up for yourself. And sometimes standing up for yourself doesn't mean you respond, it means walking away. So we don't have to engage in the back and forth, in the no win conversation, in the endless, you did that, I did this, all this back and forth. These are unproductive because it's more about jabbing than about solving the problem. It's more about trying to hurt you rather than help you. So in your own, even in your own dialogue, think about how you can step back and not engage. Because the more you step back and stay out of those conversations, then people will have a harder time, you know, getting you to fall into their trap. So it is important for you to think about, okay, this is going to happen next week. This is going to happen during the weekends. This is going to happen again. So how do I want to protect myself? So whenever you are trying to implement a new behavior, it is very important to plan it so that you can have successful strategies to protect yourself when those situations arises again. So you don't put yourself in similar situations again and again, and then you find yourself complaining. Then you're ending up being more like a complainer and a whiner. So in your own journey, learn to advocate for yourself. Learn to stand up. Standing up, like I said, means walking away, means saying that, this conversation is unproductive. We can end it. If you have something important to say that is about addressing the issue, we can talk about it. So don't just walk away and stomp away and never bring up the issue. But look at the intent of the conversation, the probing, the jabbing. So if it's more about a vengeful jabbing, then it's important to respect yourself by walking away. Okay, Saidi, good question. How do you control anger problems when somebody gets angry very easily? How do you control anger problems? Okay. So pretty volatile situation, Sadie. When you look at anger, if you peel the layers, behind anger are some deep-seated emotions. So many times behind anger, someone could be hurt, somebody could be disappointed, or they could be discouraged. And people express the hurt through anger